So if you know me, you know that my husband owns a small business as well. And recently he got a new computer and we needed to reinstall some programs. He's gonna love that I'm sharing this story. It doesn't paint him in a bad light, so it's okay. That alone should tell you how old his computer is, that we needed to reinstall some programs. The problem is everything has now gone to a subscription-based model. And that was something that was really new to him. He couldn't understand it. It's not that he's stupid. He just was like, I can't just download it and install it. Like, why can't I just download a program and install it? Why do I have to sign in to the software that I have? Why do I need to? And they were all really good questions. They were all questions that I asked when I first started with subscription-based software. And, he was bent, and rightly so. I mean, I got bent when I first had to do it. And it was one of those conversations that got me thinking, and as my husband will say, that's never a good thing. that's not something you want happening too often. And trouble usually follows. But as usual, there's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to get into. A lot. But before we do, let's get into the opening. I'll see you on the other side. All right, howdy. Welcome back. I'm E.H. Howard, and this is the Small Business Show. Glad to have you with us. Thank you for joining. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Before we get knee-high into the salt here, we start throwing some tea and shade, I want to get all on the same page with everything. When I talk about a small business, I mean a small mom and pop, Main Street kind of business. Home businesses, solopreneurs, small businesses with like 10 people or less in them, consultants, contractors, freelancers, you name it. And that's a lot to say every time I need to say small business. And I say it a lot. So for me, it's just easier now that we're all on the same page. We all know what I'm talking about, just to say small business. All right. So now you're part of the club. All right. So as I was saying, my husband recently did a big upgrade, and he came face to face with the idea that subscription services. And before we get too far into the woods, let's just kind of clarify what I'm talking about in case you really don't know what subscription services are, you haven't come across them yet, or you've maybe have one or two pieces of software, but not everything. All right. I came upon this a couple of years ago when I was forced to. Adobe went subscription based, and we'll talk about why I get it. I understand why these things happen. I understand the reasoning for them. I totally get that. But at the same time, I'm renting the software. I don't own it. I don't download it. I am merely renting it. All right. And back in the old days, you used to be able to buy a piece of software. It was expensive, right? You spend maybe I think back in the old days, Adobe was like almost $2,000. You spent $2,000, and then you could download the piece of software. Then if there were upgrades and stuff, you may have to pay for it. But typically what people did was, once you bought a piece of software, as long as it kept working, you kept using it. You didn't upgrade regularly because there was costs to it. There was money involved, and we're small businesses. That's something that we don't have. All right. And you can see where that's leading to. All right. That led to illegal downloads. If you had downloaded a piece of software and you had a serial number somewhere, then you had software. When I taught college, there were so many kids that were students that would share serial numbers. So the entire class was basically on the same serial number sometimes. All right. I get that. See, software costs money. It takes a lot to create software. If I want it to run right and be safe, I need to pay for it. I totally get it. I understand that. You are not a charity. We're all in the game of making profits. All right. So I totally understand that. Now, the second reason is just that reason, is it's about profits. All right. When you downloaded a piece of software and you kept it for 5 or 6 years, no one's making money off of that software but you. And that didn't sit too well with people. It didn't sit too well with the software people. And, having customers buy some new pieces of software every 10 years or so was not giving them what they needed, okay, for the reasons that we just stated above, all right? So keep that in mind when we're talking. And I'm not blaming, I'm not shaming. I'm just saying we need to accept the truth, because the truth is going to set you free, all right? Now, have people had not illegally downloaded software, would we have gone subscriptions? Probably. I can't say that one caused the other or the other was the reason, but that's kind of just sort of out there. I'm not gonna, I can't even make the argument for that. I can usually make an argument for everything. The Irish. But here's the problem, okay? Here comes the problem. And I face this all the time. It's a struggle, all right? If you're a small business, if you're a freelancer, subscription services can be pricey, all right? No, you don't have to come up with the $2,000. However, you could put it on a credit card and you could make payments over time. And you'll say to me, but the monthly subscription thing is the same. You're making payments basically. Yes. But if I fail to pay my credit card bill, my service doesn't get cut off. If I fail to pay my subscription bill, software that I need to run my business is turned off. Software that I need to run my business will be turned off. So then I can't have a business. I can't get back ahead of things, all right? If you don't pay, you don't get the software. And if you're a small business, you know everything. You feel like you're drowning in fees and services. And literally every piece of software these days is subscription based. Quicken, Word, Adobe, you name it. There's a monthly fee for everything. Then you got on top of that, if you're a small business, you got rent, utilities, local taxes, city taxes, state taxes, permits, all kinds of stuff coming at you. So when you take into the consideration all of that, you can see why, sure, it is expensive to run a business. It is very expensive. And we were barely making even before the pandemic. And now we're over the pandemic, but now we got a frickin' war going on, all right? Who can afford these things, all right? It is a tsunami of debt that keeps coming at us, and there's nothing on the horizon coming. There is nothing. It is empty. Or is there? There might be. So that's how we got here, right? That kind of gives you a broad sense of how we got here, but doesn't really tell you how we're gonna fix it, all right? And I'm gonna keep it 100 here. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. And, I'm not the kind of guy that brings up a problem and then is like, well, fuck if I know. But this is one of those cases, fuck if I know. We are really trapped between a rock and a hard place. We are really stuck in a tunnel, and the only light is like thousands of miles away. And it's so dim that we can barely see it, but it's still there, all right? And that's gonna be our North Star. That's where we wanna go. And the only way I can see is through the tunnel, all right? We gotta get through the tunnel. And when we come face to face with it, we have two options. We can either give up, or we can hunker down, we can fight like hell, and we can work our way through that tunnel. And those are actually kind of the two solutions to every problem in life. But that's another that's another video, all right? But let's talk about option one first, all right? Give up. And we've all been there. We have all come up against that wall. There have been many times as a small business owner where you have probably said to yourself, much like I did, why am I doing this? What the fuck? Why am I killing myself like this? Why am I putting myself through this stress every day, every week, every month? For what? It isn't what I thought it was going to be. I feel like I'm not the business that I thought I was going to be. I'm just kind of keeping my head above water and surviving. Sometimes you've taken all you can and you can't take no more, as Popeye would say. But where does that leave you? That's not a great option, right? Because you are now still in debt. You're still in debt up to your eyeballs. You're got tons of other debt coming at you. And if you're over 40, which most small home and solopreneur businesses are, it is not easy to bob back into industry. You can't be like, you know what, I'll just go back and get a full-time job in my industry again. And again, I'm going to keep it 100. Got to be honest with everybody, because I know this. We are past our prime. All right, that's a hard fact. That is a hard truth. We are past our prime. We come with costs that come from our years of experience. We want things, we want benefits, we want to work 40 hours, nothing more. We have a lot of things that we want, and those come at a cost. But we also come with some downsides from industry. Industry is looking at us and saying, you know, they're not as fresh as they used to be. They're not as cutting edge as some of these younger people. They're not up on the latest apps. They don't know the trends. They're not hip, young, and cool. They can't get my business to the audience that I need it to get to. So yeah, that's not going to help us. That's not a way through for us, all right? The only way through for us is to fight like hell. So giving up isn't a solution, and that's never a solution to any of the problems that we faced, even though that's crossed our minds quite a few times. But when it does, sometimes I think to myself, I have worked so hard to get here. Why am I going to toss it all aside? Tomorrow could be the day it all breaks for me. So I buckle down, I hunker down, I look at the light, and I go for it. And I fight tooth and nail for what I want. And it's right because I'm fired up. I am ready to start throwing hands with people. But I don't know who I'm fighting, and I don't know why I'm fighting, and more importantly, I don't know if I can win. Is the game stacked so high that I might not be able to climb it? I might not be able to get over it, through it, around it? Well, maybe. That could be a possibility. So to quote Howard Beale, I'm mad as hell and I'm not taking it anymore. And though I feel like we've been fighting forever, I barely remember a time when things were, quote unquote, better. I barely remember the before times. The times when there wasn't an earth-shattering, once in a lifetime, once in a century, front seat to history event going on every year, every month, every week, every day. I'm tired of it. I'm tired. Now, in my mind, the before times, they were okay. They weren't like, you know, sunshine and roses. It was tough to run a small business, but it felt like it was easier. It felt like there was so many things that were working for us and not against us. It didn't feel like we were drowning in all kinds of debt just to make to lunch. Like, I feel like we can't even get to lunch these days without being in debt. Now, back then, it was tough. We had still some of the same things. We had permits, we had insurance, we had all of that. But what we didn't have were subscription fees. We didn't have monthly fees for literally everything that we need to run our business. And the challenge that I have with this, the problem that I have with this, and I'm sure it's the same problem you probably have, is every time I turn around, big business has their hand out. They're getting tax cuts. They're not for what? Because I don't know. They're not paying their taxes. They're giving CEOs and board members big raises and bonuses. And then they're claiming, oh, we got to raise our prices because of inflation. They're doing everything they can to make profits. And that's a whole nother video, but stay with me for a minute. Everyone is seeing profits except small home and solopreneur businesses, except for us. Their consumers are not seeing profits. We are being held down. We're being beaten down so that they can make profits. I'm mad because I was sold a dream that's really kind of become a nightmare, right? It feels like every day things get worse. There's a steeper hill to climb than there was the day before. And we feel like we're trapped. And then you have people that are just keep telling us, you know, these influencers, these big minds of business that just say, well, really all you need to do is work harder. Well, you know, I didn't have a bunch of generational wealth. I didn't come into money. I have to work for what I have. And I don't even know how I can work harder when I'm working like 80 hours a week, right? Those are not answers. Those are not solutions to the problem. Those are big business telling us, oh, just go away. Go away. You're a pain. So what do we do? I mean, what do we do? I'm one person. I'm one small business. How can I take on this monster and beat it? How do I beat Goliath? And more importantly, can we win? Now, there's two issues at play here. And when we're fighting that big monster, it's two issues at play here, sorry. Fighting the monster and winning, all right? Now, we really need to fight the monster. We're gonna take it head on and we are gonna focus inward, all right? You want me to sell more? I'm gonna fucking sell more. I'm gonna sell more to the people who will take action. The people who like me, who trust me, who will, if I say, can you please buy this? They will buy it and they will ask for seconds. And they will tell their friends and family about me accurately, effectively. I'm gonna focus on my current consumers. And y'all knew I was gonna say that, right? There was no doubt in anybody's mind that that's where I was going. And you are not alone in fighting the monster, all right? So as we're all looking inward, just know that together we can change the world. We're gonna work together, we're gonna support each other, we're gonna be there for each other, because together we're legion, all right? Now, there's no way to stop subscription services. That we're just, that is standard operating procedure now. That's how businesses are gonna run for the next, till they come up with the next big profit generating thing. And that's okay, because some things we have no options. I mean, there is nobody to compete with Adobe, so I'm going to have to suck it up and deal with Adobe if I want to run a business. There are things like credit card fees and bank fees and city and state fees. Like, we're just gonna have to do that. But what we really need to do is truly assess where our money is going every month. And we need to ask ourselves some really freaking tough questions, okay? So for example, if you're a restaurant service, do I need to be on 5 delivery services? And if yes, what am I getting from them? Am I really getting the business that I can from those services? Am I seeing repeat customers, or am I just seeing a lot more lazy people who are a little demanding? What is it you're getting for the money that you're paying? And if you're only getting 1 or 2 orders from like DoorDash, but Grubhub is giving you 20 or 30, ditch fucking DoorDash or whatever. Just figure out where your money is going. The more that we can cut down on our dependence, the more that we were going to find other solutions, and we are going to create creative ways to get through the tunnel. All right? You're going to need to broaden your reach. We need to get out there and start talking to people, not in our consumer circle. Get to know them. Start engaging with people in social media. We need to start connecting with people who will actually spend money with us. 1 hour of your time on social media could change how you get your business done this month, all right? You spend enough time talking to people, you are going to start generating business. And people want to be invested in their business. Remember, they want to respect you. It's all about mutual respect, appreciation, and understanding. And you got to give to get. So you got to start giving and getting out there, all right? Make sure you're not throwing money out the window. Look at where you're spending all of that money, all right? Most people, most small businesses think, well, I don't really need a website. I would argue you need the website more than you need DoorDash, Grubhub, all of those things, all right? So for example, wouldn't it make more sense to have a website? And there are affordable websites out there. You can get a website done for pretty cheap. Web hosting is not that expensive. They make it sound like it's expensive, but it's not, all right? And we'll do some videos on that down the road on Patreon on how you can host your own website for relatively next to nothing. I would argue that the website with your menu, your story, everything about you is much more important than being on 5 different things, all right? Think about it. When are you going to really do your deliveries? Probably Fridays and Saturday nights, maybe a good portion on Sunday. Hire somebody, take that money that you would put into that. And I'm not saying this is the only solution, but it's a good starting point. take that money that you were going to put into those delivery services and hire somebody to work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Specific times. We only deliver from 5 to 8, whatever. Those delivery services are based on your hours. You're not always open. And is there a lot of people getting lunchtime delivery? And if they can, okay, maybe you open it up for lunchtime then. Figure it out. What are ways that you can better use your money more effectively that can build relationships with your core consumers, all right? So where all that is leading to me is when people tell you to work harder, your response is, screw you, I'm working smarter. And we can do it. We can. We just need to assess what it will take to make us a vital business. What will it take to get us to move past all of this debt and start doing what it is that we want to. And by doing that, we need to trim the excess. These apps, we don't barely use them. So let's assess them. Let's get rid of them. Now, they're going to not be the total solution to the problem. We're going to need to find some other solutions. And that's fine. Join me over on Patreon and we can start talking about it. I'm ready to start changing the world. But we just need to spend money more effectively. We need to spend it in ways that move us forward and give us some type of return. And that's inward. All right, thank you for joining me today, and I hope that you've enjoyed this content. If you did, like and subscribe below. If you want to learn more about the skills on how to work smarter, come on over to Patreon and join me there, where we will teach you how to sell and market like a pro, how to talk to consumers, how to do social media, how to host a website for cheaply. I'm going to add that one in. Talk to the consumers who are ideal and right for you. You will be a much better, stronger business and be able to sell more effectively from Patreon. If you want to learn a little bit more about me, visit ehhoward.com 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We never close. Follow me on social media. I'm ehhoward literally everywhere. While you're at the website, you can learn more about the New American Dream, find your Betty, sell the experience, a little bit more about me. While you're here, check out the other videos that we have on this channel. They're all designed to help small businesses be the business they can and should be. And again, thank you for watching. I appreciate everybody that's out there, and I will see you in the next video.